man got on my nerves. He was running me amok. He ridiculed me, calling me a bum.
The story is just a combination of some previous Batman stories, specifically Batman Begins and Under the Red Hood, and maybe a little of The Dark Knight Rises. In my opinion, the Arkham games have always oozed of Nolan Trilogy's atmosphere, with a little bit of the animated movies in there too. And this game has the most of the series. Scarecrow's plan is straight out of Batman Begins, Arkham Knight's story and plan is straight out of Under the Red Hood, down to his face reveal looking identical to the animated film. There is one thing that is good or bad depending on the gamer. You don't get the true ending until you 100% the game. This includes Riddler trophies and drones, and for people who are casual players that are saying that it's too much to do and hardcore players see it as another objective to work towards. Personally, I'm kind of in the middle in a gray area. While I have played through majority of it, except the Riddler and Penguin sections, reviewers and casual players won't be able to see the official ending to the Arkham series. At the end of the day, I wasn't going to do the Riddler and Penguin stuff, but it seems like we all have to if we want to see the true ending of the Batman. So Poison Ivy helps you in this game, like a lot. It's not even like a shaky lesser of two evils partnership, it's a straight up let's work together, and it's pretty cool until the end. Ivy ends up dying helping you stop Scarecrow, and two things happen to me at this moment. One, I got choked up, of course. Ivy has always been this character that never really likes to work with humans in general, besides seeing it with Catwoman or Harley Quinn here or there. And two, I realize that this is really the end. Usually Batman media will say, it's the end, but really leave it open for interpretation. And this game does do that similar to Dark Knight Rises on that 100% ending. But this game, unlike The Dark Knight Rises, ends not only Bruce's story, but practically everyone else's. The Joker is completely gone and will be forgotten. Bane is recovering from the effects of the Titan formula. Mr. Freeze and Nora live out their final days together. Jason leaves the Arkham Knight persona behind and becomes the Red Hood. Ivy dies. Azrael confronts the Order of St. Dumas for lying to him. Nightwing will always protect Bloodhaven. Tim and Barbara get married, and Gordon is the mayor of Gotham. It pretty much bookends the whole Arkham series besides that strange 100% ending. That's all I have for story. But the only thing that a Batman game needs more than a story are the villains. So let's get into those.
I whooped Batman's ass. I whooped Batman's ass.
The game sticks to the usual Arkham formula. After you beat the story, you have to stop other villains and solve other crimes that are usually set up as the story is still going. In the core game, ignoring DLC, the optional villains are Firefly, Two-Face, Riddler, of course, Penguin, no surprise, but as a pleasant surprise to fans of Arkham Origins such as yours truly, Deathstroke. His reason for being there is actually a pretty good one. Basically, he's hired to take the Arkham Knight's place after the Arkham Knight left to become the Red Hood, and he also has a personal vendetta against Batman since you beat him senseless in Origins. Overall, Riddler and Penguin are practically much Arkham staples, yet by Origins they were stale and boring, and that still sadly hasn't changed. Additional villains that you can fight through DLC are Black Mask, Killer Croc, and Mr. Freeze. Now to the Arkham Knight. His identity can even be told from the trailers, and here's the funniest part about it. Rocksteady released a trailer for Red Hood DLC to disprove people's theories about Jason Todd being the Arkham Knight, I guess, even though in all the art, you can see Red Hood and Arkham Knight using the same pistols. Even in the game, there are 3 back-to-back hallucinations showing Batman how Joker tortured and brainwashed Jason to make him believe that Batman thought he was useless. Even if they only showed 1 or 2 hallucinations, it would have just been another hallucination that the Joker showed Batman, similar to all the other ones in the game. And even more casual fans of Batman know about what happened to Jason Todd thanks to the movie Under the Red Hood, and comics still keep it relevant. But no, they must show the people who know nothing about Batman the villain's identity hours before the game actually shows it to you. And what makes it worse is that there are way more obscure villains such as Professor Pig and Deacon Blackfire in the game as side villains with no explanation. Oh, and believe me, I will get to Professor Pig and Deacon Blackfire in a minute. But maybe it's because the Arkham Knight is the main villain, but I still don't buy it. Now on to Professor Pig and Deacon Blackfire. Their additions were very, very strange in the game. Strangely enough, the first comic that I bought was a Batman Eternal comic, and it had both Professor Pig and Deacon Blackfire in it. But moving on. Their battles were unfun, one-time villains. I would have rather had it battle Bane or even Anarchy again. The boss battles are okay, but in this realistic Arkham series, an insane surgeon who makes invincible humans, and an insane leader of a cult who says he will lead the people to salvation by destroying Gotham isn't in my final game. They stuck out like a ridiculously sore thumb. Overall, the villains were okay, with Scarecrow and Arkham Knight being my favorite. there are still some issues. But in this game, you know, a game you play, so how's the gameplay?
I whooped Batman's ass. I whooped Batman's ass.
The gameplay is exactly the same as other Arkham games, but with a few gadgets and environmental takedowns, and of course the Batmobile added. At first, the Batmobile was my least favorite part. It was way too slippery, and all the missions and objectives that required the Batmobile were annoying, and overall, in my opinion, it was the most unoriginal part of the game. And I still kind of had those issues as I kept playing through, but by the end of the game, I kind of chilled out and started to enjoy those sections. I was able to control it better as I got used to it, except the tank sections and Riddler races. Now those are the worst parts of the game. Screw those. Those are repetitive and are just things slapped into the game to make it longer. Now my favorite part about the Batmobile and Batman's new suit is that they, like all the other Arkham games, have alternate skins, except in this one a lot of them are more movie based. There's a Michael Keaton suit, Christian Bale suit, and even a Ben Affleck suit. Now all we need is a George Clooney suit or a Val Kilmer suit. And there's even a Batman Inc., anime Batman, and a post Arkham City suit. There's even skins for the Batmobile, such as there's the default, the second version of the Arkham Knightmobile. There's a Batman vs Superman one, which weirdly enough it doesn't have a battle mode, so you can't really use until the end of the game. And there's one from the end of the game that I won't spoil at all. Now my favorite one is the Batman vs Superman one, and my favorite Batman skin is the Christian Bale or the Ben Affleck suit. Yet again, my only issue is with the Batman vs Superman Batmobile is that there is no battle mode. So yeah, so all you can use for is puzzles and race and going through the city. Now the Riddler sections, like I've said, all of it is by far the most unoriginal, unfun, annoying, frustrating part of the game. Think about it. We've been doing this for 4 games now. 4 games. It's like doing the Zad's phone thing from Arkham City for all 4 games. It got old. Fast. Screw these parts. These parts are abominable. The only good thing about these parts is that now you can take a picture or, I don't know, take a snippet of a Riddler trophy if it's in the sections you can't get to and go back to it by the end of the game. So you don't have to write it down or get it from the top of your head anymore. This game, weirdly enough, isn't very difficult, but by the end of the game, the difficulty level does kind of rise, specifically in its boss battles. I didn't die much in the game, but like I said, towards the end, it gets hard, especially in that Cloudburst battle. I died a lot. Got very annoying. But besides the boss fights after the story, you shouldn't die that much. You really shouldn't. Now I forgot to make a transition for this part, so just pretend like you saw another transition. Okay, moving on to DLC. When this game says Arkham Episodes for its DLC, there is an emphasis on the word episodes. Practically all the DLC packs are 20 minutes each, with the backer one being 30 minutes. That means if you bought the $40 season pass, you get 150 minutes of additional content. I personally think that what they did with Arkham City was better, having a completely different separate campaign that wasn't as long as Batman's, but it was still longer than 20 minutes and wanted extra money. This game had one of my favorite Batman characters, the Red Hood, in it for a grand total of 5 seconds, but of course if you buy the DLC, his appearance is a grand total of 20 minutes and 5 seconds. Luckily, individually these packs are cheaper due to the game being on the market for over a year, and the DLC packs aren't essential like some other AAA titles like Battlefront, so that's a plus. It's just a shame that since this is the final nail in the Arkham coffin, we won't be able to see these versions of famous characters with their own campaigns.
I whooped Batman's ass. I whooped Batman's ass.
Deadpool's voice actor sucks. His voice in Origins was great. I don't know why they changed it. Maybe to make it sound like he aged, but it wasn't needed. It sounds like Rocksteady grabbed a random guy who was doing voice work as a thug in a game and told him to sound tough. Besides that, everybody's either the same or is great voice acting. Commissioner Gordon sounds gruffed and aged, so does Batman. Everyone pretty much sounds amazing. The game is a beautiful game. It's visually stunning and looks amazing on next-gen consoles. But the frame rate, ooh, it can drop noticeable levels. Not unplayable, but very noticeable. I'm talking like 30 to 25. And sometimes the game would freeze and you would see a little spinning Batman logo in the corner. If you've played the previous Batman Arkham games, you've seen the spinning logo before, especially in Origins. But it only happens after you play the game for a long time, so that's kind of expected. Like I said, the game looks beautiful, especially since this is Arkham, it rains a lot. Everything looks beautiful under the rain. The game takes place during at night, the whole time, and it all takes place in one night, which in my opinion is so stupid and got old so quick. But the game is still very, very beautiful, no matter its setting.
Batman thought he was bad. He was a fucking asshole in the first place. He got knocked to the floor.
Overall, with a good story, obvious but great villain, beautiful graphics, and stupid DLC practices, this game is a buy at full price if you're a Batman fan, but especially if you've played the previous Arkham games. If you haven't, I suggest getting the Return to Arkham HD collections, which includes Asylum and City, for $50. However, it doesn't have Origins, and if you've already played the previous Arkham games, the gameplay, story, and the villains are what you expect, besides a few letdowns. In my opinion, this is a perfect time to end the series. People are starting to grow tired of the game series, especially as we've been shown with Arkham VR's announcement. So, this may not be the swan song that everybody expected, but in my honest opinion, it's one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 4. And I'll see you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed.